I think, you know, it's important, I think when you're, you know, if in, you know, one of the larger roles, to at least keep, you owe it to your crew and your other actors to, even if you're having a bad day, maybe keep your mood going, or sort of try and inject some kind of optimism into what can sometimes feel like impossible circumstances when you're shooting, or because the minute I've been on things where the lead actor or actress would sour on the project or be, you know, no fun to work with, and it has this sort of debilitating effect, this domino effect that that can take down a production. So I think if you you know, if you're going to be a sourpuss when you're on set, it hurts the whole thing overall. And I also loved the thing that we were doing, so I was very grateful to be there, and I was excited to be there. And so I would want to make sure that everyone was happy.
That's great. So it's a big responsibility.
Not really. I mean, it's a responsibility, but it's one that I enjoyed doing. You know, I mean, I loved everyone we were working with, and you know, and if there was ever someone who I wasn't enjoying, I would pull them aside and go, like, hey, you should, you know, consider yourself lucky, like we all are. It's not science fiction. There's a palpable fear happening around the world as we speak, you know. So yeah, I think collective fear is something everyone can identify with right now, because there's people who are feeling destabilized, and you know, there's always people that feel destabilized no matter what's going on in the world. But it seems particularly prescient at the moment. Yeah, I think you know, with when you have the luxury of having 10 hours a year to tell a story, you can really dig into a lot of stories, and you can, you know, I think writers love to overwrite, you know, and oftentimes when you're doing a film, you know, it's, you know, they're pretty hardcore about it, wanting to be about 120 pages of screen time, and so it's bittersweet sometimes, because when I've written films, for example, you might want to write to 150 or 160, and inevitably you get the note, you got to cut it down, you got to cut pages out, and so you kill some of your best scenes or some things that you really want in the film. Yeah, I think, I don't know. I mean, because I never thought I was going to be a writer, and I definitely don't write the same way that some of my family members write. And nor could I. You know, I found the medium of writing that worked for me, which was largely humor and dialogue. You know, it's not novels, it's not you know, books, it's or essays. It's perfect for me. You know, but I don't know how much it influenced me growing up. I wouldn't say that, you know, it was like, you know, I was being bred to write at all. You know, I was quite the opposite. Not a very good reader, not a very good writer. And so, sort of a happy accident. Yeah, it was cool. You know, I got to do a lot of different things that, like, I didn't think I was going to be able to do. You know, there was a whole episode where I was sort of a James Bond type character, it's assassin, and that
at the same time you played a real man.
Yeah, I played kind of like a real guy who was thrust into this alternate reality. Where that was just what his job was. So it was kind of fun to sort of, you know, play both sides of that. Yeah, I think so.
It's not comfortable?
Well, it can be uncomfortable, but I think it's, you know, it can be destructive only for audiences, where it's like, if, you know, if they know too much about you, then it makes it difficult for them to believe you when you're trying to do something else, you know. It's usually sort of a gut instinct, you know. You get a piece of material and it might be something that you haven't done before that you want to try, or it could just be undeniably a good piece of writing, whether it's comedy or drama. The thing that I don't do is I don't try and take jobs with any kind of plan in mind, you know, like, oh, if I do this, then maybe I can get this. Like, that kind of thinking has never really worked out for me.
You don't have that strategy of, yeah.
No, like career planning I don't think is effective necessarily, you know. I mean, I'm sure there's people that can do it, but I don't consider myself. I would like for there to be people watching it. So in that sense, I do care about box office. I don't necessarily care about the money, but I do want it to reach, if it's something I'm proud of and like, it's something I want as large an audience as possible I want as large to consume it or see it or watch it, you know. the opposite is true if you do something you hated. Yeah, well, the other thing is that, you know, our characters, my character in particular, does pull several sort of geographic moves to try and escape problems, and the other thing you learn when you travel anywhere is your problems travel with you. So you can pull as, you know, big as you can go to literally the other side of the planet, but if you have any problems, you might not have packed them in your bag, but they're going to arrive there with you. No, it wasn't going to a shrink. I will say that it was cathartic at times. You know, people would be like, wow, some really dark stuff that you have to do or play or emotions. And in a weird way, I would sometimes leave work happier, you know, like than I arrived, because I would have gone through this thing or this transformative scene or something for the character. And so there's something about doing those kinds of scenes that exercises some negative emotions, I guess. I think it asks that question. It's saying, like, is there something in control? Are we in control? Are we in control of our destiny or our fate? And in that sense, I think, you know, the answer, at least as it pertains to my character, is no, we're not in control. And that's, on the one hand, can be a really destabilizing thing if you're not religious and you're not whatever. It could also be a really comforting thing, because you're like, all right, now that I know I'm not in control, I don't have to worry about it. You know, I don't have to try and control it, you know. So yeah.